Philip?
Yeah, hi everybody. My name's Philip Hofer from Schindler Elevators, actually Jardine Schindler. We're part of the Jardine Group. I'm based in Hong Kong, the head of technical support for Asia Pacific. So, yeah, IoT is a big part of our job. We can look at what's happening in the background. So just having a look at the system here, I think important is, again, the whole closed-loop diagnostics that you have. You know, from your elevator cab, we use a cadet device called the Cube, which is then connected to our remote monitoring platform, and then the technical operations centres, the TOCs that have access to that data, and then we can give that information to the technicians on their mobile apps, and then the customer dashboard monitoring. So I think the important here is that it is actually a closed loop, so we can, if we need to upgrade software to the Cube, or if we need to change door speeds or something, you can actually access the elevator, and even with the remote caddy, I have full access to that elevator. So looking at some of the innovations and services, again here we have the remote monitoring, which is basically our 24-hour system, which is monitoring everything. And then we have, part of that is as well the Crowd Knowledge app, which is a fantastic application, has all information on breakdowns, and for the field they can access that from their field wiki, which basically gives them all the access to the documents, the TKs, anything that they need to get access to, the spare parts as well, not just for our own equipment but for third-party equipment. And yeah, let me go on to the next one. So this is basically the remote monitoring platform where I can access the lift, and I can by address or equipment number, and then I can dig into the error logs, look at the symptoms. But the automated process is the key here. It's like the elevator has the symptoms. We can define the symptoms that need to be sent to the remote monitoring platform, and then the lift will actually diagnose itself as being sick, or that a potential breakdown will happen. And that's where we're using AI at the moment, is just to look at those patterns of, say, a door error, or what that pattern might be that can cause a breakdown, and then being able to send a service technician to fix that. As we said, adaptive maintenance, it's here. I think, I think as Tim said, we're working intensively with the Singapore government. They've developed the code now. They want this to happen because they see a manpower shortage in the next 10 years. And it's definitely here. We're working on that, and this is the beauty of the sensors that we actually have. This allows us then to do the condition-based maintenance based on the information that we're getting, the amount of trips, the amount of cycles, rope lifetime. So, I mean, traditional, we have a 12-month maintenance period, and in Singapore now it's basically to a quarterly, and that allows us to basically do the S1 service visit, which is a big service visit, and the S2 as well. And the rest are then just condition-based, depending on how healthy that elevator is. And nothing happening. There we go. Preventive maintenance, I think that's where we are today anyway. That's basically what the service technician does. He's out in the field, he's looking at the equipment, doing the preventive maintenance. But again, he probably doesn't know, he doesn't have the time in that maintenance period to be able to look at some of the defects that could actually come up in the future. And I think that's the beauty of where we are today. When he actually gets to site, he's already got all that information that he needs to be able to conduct a proper and thorough maintenance visit. Going back to the adaptive maintenance as well, I think especially in the hospitals, we see with all this data that we can get, we can generate then specific information to that field technician. So when he arrives on site, he knows the fact that the door might have some issues, and equipped him with the tools to be able to do that. I think another tool we have is called Reviva, which is an automated process that identifies a sick unit. And that's part of the problem in the field engineering where I work. Somebody calls somebody when they have a problem, and then they call somebody else, and they call somebody else, and then you have 10 people working on the one problem. And with this Reviva program, it automatically sends information to different people on a level of expertise, and then they can address that and give hints to that person to be able to effectively solve the breakdown. Again, automated service requests. If the elevator knows it has a problem, it can send a service request. I mean, if we have a breakdown as well, we'll actually first try to do a remote reset based on the hierarchy of that symptom that it's delivered. So with the calls, well, not even the call centre is doing it. It's automatically will try based on a hierarchy of symptoms in that error log if it's capable to do a remote reset or not. And then once we do that remote reset, if the elevator can recover, when it's acknowledged, it goes into the database as well, that information is for the service technician on the next visit. But yeah, and then it generates an automatic request saying that it's, and depending on the essentiality of that, if it's needed soon or not. But usually we'll get a request then that if a lift is broken down, that the service technician will have to go and fix that. And many times that's actually very good, because we get there and the customer doesn't even know the lift's broken down. And we say, we're here to fix it. And they say, oh, I didn't know it was broken down. And then you get it up and running, and that's where you get the satisfaction. There we go. Looking at the remote monitoring, again, as we've spoken, the IoT is obviously what allows this. And then with the machine learning, we're round the clock, 24/7, so the information is always there. And again, I think the opportunities are unlimited. It's all about the connectivity. Once you have connectivity, you have access to that elevator, you have that data, and we can let AI in the future do its thing. Technical operation centres we have in every country that they actually maintain the phone lines and the tele alarms as well. But the second level support is there through the technical people that look at those callbacks, analyse information, and then give that into the field link, so that on top of what has actually been automatically generated, then we have feedback to the technician as well. So how it works, you know, we have an input. You have the technical operations centre, which delivers that information to the service technician. As we say in our company, the front line is the bottom line. You know, they're the ones that are actually out there making the money for our company, and being able to equip them with the right tools to do their job is quite an important value in our company. A little example of how it works. There was an analyst, I mean, remote diagnostics said there's something wrong with the door. There was a bit of an over temperature. So what could this be? Is it excessive use, mechanical blockage, or a malfunction? And then the field link to the technician, the message is basically, yeah, it's reported that we've had an over temperature. It gives him hints on what to do. In the meantime, it will decide if we should actually reduce the speed of that door until the service technician gets there or not, which is a possibility that the TOC centre will discuss if they want to do that or not. When he gets to site, he's actually got all the information for that inverter, what is the interface, what the error was, and gives him tips on what he needs to look at. So, fantastic. And then defines the actions to be taken and to move forward. Cybersecurity, obviously a big issue. You know, we have thousands, hundreds of thousands of units connected, and ironically, in Macau at the casinos, they don't let us connect anything. So it's trying to convince casinos that we can actually put a box on the elevator and then transfer information outside. We're getting very close. And this is only due to, again, the different IEC codes. We have the 62443, which gives us the compatibility of the components. And I think in the future, we'll definitely be able to see that we'll, to high security levels that will allow us via cloud services to connect. Or even in-house, if we don't use a cloud, we can actually use then, for example, the casino's cloud, where they are the owner of that data and we can just access it. The last, going back to the action dashboard, which is basically a customer value that they can see the maintenance period of their elevator, their asset, looking at as also the amount of breakdowns, the MTBC, And it's just an added value of that data that is always available. Okay, thank you. Looking forward to the panel discussion.